And hi, good evening to everyone. I am the civil behind that knife edge, and this is a new live in this experimental podcast I have been running for this week. This is the first time I've actually make a podcast or anything speaking in English. I didn't really have the chance until now, and there are special reasons I wanted to make an English podcast for maybe some of my English audience that is around, I swear, in places like Twitter or Facebook. Anyway, I invite you to revise the description of the video where you can find all the social media you can find me on in my complicated communication network and my two donation links if you want. This is not obligatory, I but if you want to, I Uh, if you want to donate me something to perhaps buy new equipment and carry on this difficult situation I am living right now, I will be very grateful for that. So, um, let's get started with today's topic. Perhaps you can find a clue in the title of the video. But yeah, this is a very special day for me, for a complete fandom actually. We can finally celebrate on the 30th anniversary of something that unites us all. And well, I have my reasons to not speak my mother tongue in this live specifically, and I will have more challenges speaking in this podcast. So I will start. Um, I have not doing this for a while, so I have prepared my presentation, and today's topic is a video game that just released today. It was a very hype release that there was today, and the one that is not God of War Ragnarok. And I am not referring to the title of this video game because I have to put even more restraints that thinking consistently and speaking consistently in English to make this podcast in order to make it a little bit less risky for me. So, yeah, this slides are titled At the Frontiers of a New Era, a deep analysis from someone who will probably never play the game but love the franchise regardless. I am very identified. If you see my avatar, I am very identified with this franchise. Perhaps my feelings are changing, you will see why, but I deeply love the franchise anyway, and this is something that develops my internet image across the years and since the beginning. So I will speak about this topic for the next hour, shall we? Let's gonna get started. First, I will clarify this. There are forbidden words. I will be not speaking any character's name, especially the main one of this video game. I have said this, but there is a reason for that. I don't want to be hurt, and I don't mean my audience. I mean, I want you to understand me, but even by pronouncing some similar words, I have been uh, shouted in the past, and Uh, I and if at this hour of the night it's a quarter to 11 p.m. in my country right now, so if at this hour of the night I am heard to be saying this word, I will probably be hit live, and I am not exaggerating. I also won't say the company name just to preserve a little bit more of me, but you know what I am talking about. Uh, put the I'll see if I'll put the name of the game I'll be speaking about right now, if I can if I can make if I can show it. So speaking about all of this is less confusing. I'll I'll do um just uh give me a second. Okay, so this is the topic. I will not say that aloud because I can't, or it will be very risky for me. But this is the topic. I will leave it there, and everything I'll be saying right now will be about this and surrounding this topic. I want to speak about it because I have been said before, this is a video game franchise I love so dear since my sweet childhood. It forged my internet image across the years since day one, and I am quite identified with it. Despite I am not the biggest fan, but I am perceived as a sick fan, and I am almost legally not allowed to say those words. So I will be I will be starting with the topic. First, reception. For everyone in the fandom right now, you will know as a rule of thumb, um, reception from the press is quite different from the reception from fans. So, uh, you will see that all these video game media, except digital trends, for some reason, perhaps they are the new IGN, um, all of this have qualified this new title of the franchise with very regular notes. A pass, I would say, or what is considered by nowadays standards of the video game industry a passing note. This is something that should not surprise anyone, but especially from the case of digital trends, this is something like a cruel treatment of this game, and the fandom was not very different. There was a kind of cycle I have seen a lot in Twitter when anything about this video game was announced, a gameplay, a gameplay footage, a trailer, anything about it. Um, it was hype until the moment of the release, and then it was universally hated. I couldn't avoid this trend and kind of have to kind of had to accept it. I was not particularly hyped with the game. I was kind of uh, ex- skeptical about the topic, um, because um, well, in previous podcasts I have said I lived under a rock for almost 10 years for personal reasons. So I was really hyped about Generations back in the day. I can say that I have downloaded the trailers and stuff, but after that, It was very hard for me to keep track of any news, and therefore I could not be very hyped about the games. Drinking water. Um, but about this title, I can say I was aware that it existed, that it was very hyped, since it is an anniversary title. It was an anniversary celebration since the previous installment. Um, it was broken the tradition of not releasing a anniversary title in the year of the anniversary, with the hope of not rushing things, and that is good. But the reception from the press, it's is as, how can I say this? Is as warm as the notes they gave it. They are deliberately ignoring what the game means from the franchise right now. They are not hiding the fact that they hate the franchise, they hate the character, they hate everything it represents for the world's most lucrative industry. It is stupid. I cannot find any other word in the language. It is childly stupid what they do. They might be right. As I say, I would never play the game due to circumstances, but what they have done and what they say now, it's it's just stupid. Digital trends, it's it's no surprise that gaming press is trying to push the industry in some way, that it's not that I don't like it and I don't like it. It's just an absurd way to try to make video games a pretentious art again, and they are so evident I could fart in an elevator and be less evident. I made that joke a lot in Spanish, but yeah, I can fart in an elevator after eating a full bowl of beans and chili con carne, and I will be less evident about what I did than they doing this. They are not even trying to hide it. Hobby consolas, I this it mildly surprised me from you, but what can I say? I hate modern journalism, and not just when it comes to games, but this is stupid. I don't want to see it anymore. So, new mascot, new era. Uh, this the Cuckoos were promoted as the new mascot that will sign this new era of the franchise. But from what can I say? What could I see from the cutscenes of the game, or what few things that there are from the game? They are more like a disposable narrative device. I don't see them in any other future installment, but something more like they created for a single use and dispose it, because from what go we see in the trailers and reflect about it, yeah, they are actually not alive. They are a reanimate thing. I don't see them. I don't see them coming back really soon. They are not the chows or the wisp of this era. I have said some forbidden words, but yeah, I won't stop. I don't see these things as new mascot, the new mascot item of this era. They are more like a something that it was just made for Frontiers, and that's it. Gameplay. Okay. Um, take what I say with a grain of salt, because, like I said, I didn't play the game. I probably never will, and everything I see was just from the trailers and the and videos on YouTube. But gameplay is something of a interesting and weird hybrid. Uh, it was the first game in the franchise to be an open world, and that is strange for the franchise, but it successfully integrated RPG elements in the past, so this will be a nice experiment, something that some part of the fandom have demand, and it's a weird hybrid. There is this open world feature that resembles some fan games, some 3D fan games that were popular on the franchise lately in the last years. So they tried to emulate that experience. I don't know if they succeeded or not, but what is the action gameplay, the actual stages? It's still weird. I I agree with that. They wanted to emulate the cancelled Extreme by accommodating some sections of the stage as spirals, as concentric spirals, or some things like the hole that was made popular from Unleashed and on. There were climbing sections. There is a lot of adrenaline. I saw s- a lot of uh, smashing buttons randomly, and there is a thing that kind of surprised me in a bad way. Uh, there are some sections of the game that try to emulate Toho. I don't see this as a good thing. The bullet hell and trying to avoid things, it's something we have seen since Unleashed. And well, with the thing I have from Unleashed, I had enough of it. The franchise didn't need to harden that feature of the game, but they decided to, and they decided to make some sections of the game a small Toho game, and I don't think this add something positive to the experience of the game. Uh, People who play these games, I don't think they play something as complex or uh, something so joystick destroyer as I see Toho. Perhaps I'm saying something really stupid, but um, Toho does not get along with this franchise. I don't care what other people may say. I don't care what fan art could say. This is just strange. I don't see the franchise needed that, but they do. The combat sections, we have that on Unleashed 2. I guess I guess they tried to implement that in a way that they didn't need the wolf mode, but they didn't need the Toho thing. I can only criticize that thing, and everything in those games have become something like smashing buttons in a rapid order, which contradicts completely the idea of an open world. If you wanted an open world game, you want an exploration game, you want to roam free in an open field, something like in some other RPG games, but not in this game. If you wanted an open world, you don't want stage or mission who kind of demand from you smashing buttons in a rapid order. It could be this game or something like a rhythm game. It will have the same effect. The rapid, slow change of pace is not something Like, I don't think other kind of gamers enjoying that idea. This is the part where I can mostly go wrong because I have not experienced the game firsthand. So I can only say that it is a weird hybrid which demands a lot of change of pace, and I think that's critiquable. Okay, story narrative. This is where I'm going to be cancelled. Sorry. Um, this game promised to stop with the weird trend um, inaugurated by Colors of the goofy childhood story with obvious narrative problems. Um, they did kind of. I don't think they did. The reason I call the cuckoos a disposable plot device is because across the game we can see they are with the problem of the cuckoos reflected the heart and mind of the character involved. For one, it was finding love. Other cuckoos were a unit of coward soldiers, and the other was something who didn't want to disappoint the hero. That is kind of the main point of the characters 20 years ago, not now. I can't say I dislike the story, but after seeing it a couple of times, I just can't say I just ask myself something. What is it about? What is it about? What was the enemy? It was Majora's Moon? I don't I didn't get that. Um these games didn't need to be a masterpiece of narrative. I don't think this kind of games need to, but they wanted a more serious story, a story in another tone that takes their characters seriously, and they got it. The fandom finally got what they have been bragged about for 12 years now. And is it good? I really don't think so. If you wanted a more serious story, a more mature story, and for doing that, you needed to take it from some other things that made it to the soul of this franchise. I absolutely don't think that hiring a writer as good as Ian Flynn would have been worth of it. You didn't need a like you wanted a more serious story, okay, but you also wanted a better story. I didn't get what the lead motif. I didn't want what the theme of the story is. I didn't know what the villain really was. In the end, it kind of made the same mistakes as every other game till now, which is perhaps a good thing. It's a change of style. A group of fails is often called a style. So the story kind of feels like the same edgy, groomy thing. We will see it with the characters later on, but it feels edgy, the same edgy, groomy stuff I hate so deeply because when they say they wanted a more mature story, a better story, it needs to be a sad, gloomy story about how a civilization is lost to time and we're alone and we're all gonna die. And I hate that mainstream narrative that all things mature are dark. We need to change that mentality. It's a political position of mine, but we need to get better stories with which are also lighthearted stories. In fact, despite how much flaws the movie had, it told a solid it told a solid story with a defined topic, with good characters, with their flaws and stuff, and it completely debunked the rivals. I want something more like that movie, not like the comics or the story of Frontiers. But what I have to say about it, and it's positive. Its ending. It it completely surprised me. It got me out of nowhere. The surprise the story has, the story has, they completely blow my head. It was a literally mind blow. It also sense of a it also sense of a new mistake, which is something I hear a lot, but I never got nice examples about it. Is and it's this story tells, it doesn't show. The story feels at some point that it's a long exposition stuff with lots of reference for the nostalgia, but it doesn't tell a story. It doesn't show me anything. It just tells. It's there, and it's one of the best writers related to this franchise who they supposedly hired to make the script of this game. And if he makes something like that, um, we're We're talking about a comic book writer. He's deeply influenced, or he needs to write things that have a lot of visual impact, and I don't see that show off in his writing. I just see a bunch of nonsensically exposition, and that's a new mistake. I won't forgive Flynn for that. If they got him to write a script, they needed it to make it better. Perhaps there are too many heads in the script, and it's not Flynn's fault, but it is responsible. Perhaps the things got lost in the adaptation, but Flynn is still responsible. I want a I cannot forgive him for such a new mistake as for Delmore's than he show. That is a very low fail of his. Voice acting. Okay, I will speak more about this with individual characters, but I first saw the cutscenes in Spanish, and I thought the dub um, take out a lot of the enthusiasm and expression of the characters. These characters are designed to be expressive. They are cartoons. They are furry cartoons, for God's sake. Their sole purpose is to be expressive because they are designed to be family friendly child characters. They need to be expressive. I think that was a thing of the dub, but when I heard the English voice acting, things didn't get a lot better. And and we are talking about people who are not new to the franchise. They are experienced. They have been playing these roles since the 2010s. It is really it is really disappointing to hear the actors like they are not even trying to act, they're just reading. We will see. So, okay, main character. It is told that he had a new voice. Perhaps it is the case, and if it is the case, I can forgive a little about how bad and unexpressive and tone deaf the voice acting he had was. He became progressively goofier as well as his corporal expression, which is also inconsistent across the game. But at the first glance, he's just someone who, perhaps I can say, this is the first time he makes this role. If that is the case, okay, pass, I guess. But this was an important installment for this franchise, and you cannot give the protagonist role to newbie. It if it isn't his usual voice actor, I can totally understand why at first his voice acting is so plain. I can't I can't guess the emotions in him. It has all the characters have a lot more of perhaps physical jokes. There is in the first scenes you can see him running in the background and getting from the other side again, like why the heck this happens. And it's I interpret it as a subtle joke of he cannot actually escape from cutscenes. But if it isn't, well, the jokes he said are not good. There are there was a good one about the goals, and I can say I can say like this Sonic is kind of not the same Sonic we knew, but it doesn't feel much more mature either. Doesn't feel like the rampant storm of revel and emotion and adrenaline the character is supposed to be. He lowered that. I don't know that is a good thing. We needed a more serious story, not a more serious character. Okay, she. What can I say? I think this is the worst character of the game. Her interpretation, everything she said, it almost feel like she's not even the same character as before. If I said something bad about Sonic, I can say 10 more times for she. Yes, I have to say a forbidden word. I'm sorry. About her, she doesn't speak like usual. She doesn't act like usual, which was kind of what they were looking for. She doesn't even walks like the same character. In a cutscene, we can see her walk away, and she doesn't even make the same motion. All the expressiveness this character was known about were stripped, I will say robbed from her. It was a massacre to see her like that. What have they done to my girl? Like, she was my favorite female character in the franchise, and it was almost physically painful to see her like that. There is a line of hers in one of the best scenes she has, but one of her lines is something in the lines of I want to share love with all the world, but all the everything she expressed and do, like I have said about the story, is telling, not showing. Everything she did, it's like I have never cared about it. And we know that's not true. She is, in the mind of the fandom, she's seen like Yandere, which is not true. She's a crazy fan, which is not the same. She was started to be called Yandere because in the middle there was Mirai Nikki and there was this pink hair anime girl which make the Yandere trope have her face, and then the people started to think that it was obligatory for Yanderes to be pink haired, so Amy is pink haired, she must be a Yandere, and she's not a Yandere. She's not even remotely close to be a Yandere, but she gave that nickname. And she's not a Yandere, she never was. And now I see a completely cold character that it's nothing like any of her that I have seen. It's like a completely different character. They will have put any other female character in her place. She will have made the same role. I would have cared, but not her. What I have seen from the cutscenes of the game and from the game in general, this is not. This is a character who doesn't even behave as her in the situations she had to live. And her cuckoo represented love, which is worse. During her section of the game, there was a reference to fortune card reading, which was cool, I guess. But yeah, overall worst character of the game. Okay. Um, things starting getting better with him. The characters were allowed to be more goofy and more corporally expressive. But they have not reached their full potential. They have gained a animated prologue, which was amazing for in the line of the quality of the animations we had in the last time about the franchise, but um, what can I say? From what we have seen in the prologue, for the time he was dedicated in the prologue, they could have made something better. It is best like he's fighting to recover his valor like the lion of the Wizard of Oz, and that is not the case. He learned to be a leader in his section of the game, not to be a more valiant hero, which it is shown he was, despite being just a cyber ghost. He was willing to put his life on the line for his friends. That is something someone who calls himself valiant will do. He didn't need to learn that, but more like being a leader or rely on others. But that is a simple confusion. They could have made a better story, uh, something better with this character, but uh, yeah, things get a little bit better with them. They could have done it better. Okay, the friend. This is one of the best secondary characters. With them, they finally allowed the characters to be expressive, to be a little goofy, to have some gags about their personalities, and that is positive. I have a kind of forgetting this was supposed to be a more serious tone story, and they have took seriously things about the flaws of this character. This this character is portrayed as somehow a coward who wants to be more valiant, more useful to his friends, and they made it. They made it nicely. The cuckoo reflects this arc very well. The references illustrated that eh, that side of the character, both the coward and I want to be a valiant hero very well. I have also cited a what when they spoke about the recent game reference, and that is amazing. I like what they did with this character. This is what should have made to everyone, but they treated Tails specially. He needed it, and this needed to be a gold standard. There can be a serious tone story with goofy, expressive cartoon characters. I need them to feel like that. This is what this is what the history needed to feel. This is this is something closely like a gold standard. So, okay, villains. The newly introduced villains tend to be a disappointment, but I think Sage was an exception. They tried to make it a a new nemesis, but we don't feel quite attached to the characters yet, and that is for her. I say her because it's a girl, and that is for her rejection to interact with other characters. All her scenes are solos, and it's the relation with other characters what made what could have make her stand out. One of the surprise this is a spoiler. One of the big surprises of the game is that she is the other villain's daughter. Not gonna lie, that shocked me. I didn't expect a scientist offspring of any kind, even if it's an AI, it is still surprising. I and that is something nice that they did with the other villain, because it is what it is what the other needed. Some interaction. The interaction they had made him feel more human. They gave him someone to care about. Sh- He is not simply a mad scientist with thirst to conquer the world and something who can be clowny at times. They gave him another paternal side to his character, and that is a nice improvement. I have not expected they made him like that. That is a nice improvement. So, I have spoken about a lot of characters, and spoilers again. Near the end, we have received a nice, comfortable confirmation, and that is we have a new canon character. Um, when they have mentioned her in the near the end, it was something that it was kind of that. I don't know if you watch Power Rangers, but like it's like that small cameo of Astronomer during the legendary battle. It's 2 seconds of a cameo that stole the show. If this were the only thing positive about Frontiers, I could I could call it all the game was worth it. It was worth of the confirmation that, like any other things that Izuka have confirmed about the franchise lore, which they are trying to hire something to organize it. But this in-game confirmation is nice. This in-game confirmation is something very nice. But we have something that was not very nice and is just a question. Where is she? For a time, she was the center of the discussion of the fandom, and now we don't know who she is and where she was. I have not seen them as far as I have seen of the game. Perhaps it's a side mission character, I don't know. But we wanted to see her, and she's not anywhere. So, conclusion. I call this a successful experiment. They have heard the fandom and gave the fandom what they wanted. They say things they did. Was it completely worth it and the franchise was it completely worth it and the franchise should move towards this direction? Not for me. Perhaps Frontiers is the point where I can finally say, okay, this is not for me anymore. I set the flag here, I pass the torch to someone else or whatever. I don't feel completely content, to be honest, with this game because it is serious beyond what a bunch of furry characters in a video game that was initially designed for kids and teenagers can fare. This is just a game, a good game, I can say, but this is a regular story which came out to be good because they have experimented a lot with this and the experiment was successful. But be the franchise moving in this direction in the future, and this is the point where I say this is not for me anymore. Does someone want this torch? You get it. I don't want it anymore. I don't want the Sonic franchise, and I don't think the Sonic franchise work with these serious tone stories that strip away the soul of what the characters are meant to are. They they have the right to evolve as they evolved until 2006, but you don't have to shred their their souls like that. I didn't like that narrative wise, story wise. I want, and I think the fandom wanted a more serious story that didn't take away what the characters meant to be. And but well, I'm just a grown ass adult speaking about a childish video game franchise of furry characters. So, despite my whole internet identity is forged around it, and my family thinks I am a sick fan to the point I have restricted myself some words I have said twice during this live. I am not infallible. I say a lot of stupid things daily, but I don't think the franchise or the company deserve this treatment, even if it is what the fandom wanted and what the franchise needed in the first place. So, without anything more to say, I invite you to comment whatever your thoughts are, I invite you to revise the description of the video where you can see all the social medias you can find me in my completely absurdly complex communication media. My two donation links, it's not an obligation, but if you want to donate me something so I can buy new equipment and carry on this difficult situation I am living, I will be very grateful for that. I have nothing more to say. I am the civil behind Dash Knife Edge. I am happy to see you all. Thank you.